the 19th race of the 2004 NASCAR Nextel Cup Series season, and we're here in the middle of the summer in Joliet, Illinois at the Chicagoland Speedway for the running of the Tropicana 400. This is only the fourth time this track has been raced on in the Nextel Cup Series, but the previous three times it's produced some crazy races and some upsets during them. We'll have to see if there's anything that maybe throws a curveball during this race here today at the Chicagoland Speedway. I'm Jordan Kessler, alongside me in the booth, Trey Bardo. Trey, the last time we were here last season in July, it was a very cloudy, overcast day. It was a little bit cooler on the racetrack. Today, very hot day. The sun is beaming down in this racetrack. The drivers all weekend have complained how slick the racetrack is because it's a newer pavement with a little bit of a narrow groove. Now you add heat into that, Trey. This track is going to be a handful for a lot of drivers out there on the racetrack.
Yeah, it'll be fun to watch these guys slip and slide around here, especially when they're racing each other. And I mean, like you mentioned, Joe, it's going to be a little nerve-wracking, I guess you could say, watching because one mistake can ruin your day, and these guys are going to be pushing for all they can get.
We saw a lot of mistakes in practice and qualifying. That they're going out there for practice laps. Drivers were missing the groove, going up into that gray stuff towards the outside of the racetrack. Once again, newer pavement. You have to work your way up to the racetrack by getting rubber down the racetrack. It just hasn't got there yet. And Trey, from what I've heard from drivers, is that these cars are so sketchy. You enter on the outside and you're up even near the grade, not necessarily in it. You're near the top of that rubber. It's gonna be very slick up there. Drivers are saying they maybe can't enter up high into the corners.
Yeah, I don't know the last time I've heard an issue like that happen, right? That's definitely a unique one there, but the drivers know about it, so we'll have to see if we can notice it at all throughout the race here. But that is definitely a different type of element that these guys are going to have to get around.
And all the unknowns of this weekend at Chicagoland, it mixes into the unknowns of what has been just this season in general. You think about early in the season, Jay Brando fires off on a hot streak, winning the first two races of the season, dominating in the point standings. But then he's really fallen as of late. I mean, it was race 10. He had a 67-point lead, Trey. We're now entering into race number 19. He's 253 points behind in 10th place. You think about Chris Jericho. After race number 13, he was the points leader. And now he's 11th in points entering race number 19, 272 points back. So a lot of drivers that were early championship favorites, they've struggled. They've fallen either bottom half of the top 10 or out of the top 10. While drivers like Tim Gary, Luke Rainey, Matheus Wells, they are very consistent. Evan Hunter as well. They're very consistent. They're just managing top 10, top 5, top 15 days. They're up there in the points lead, while some of those flashy drivers early in the season, Trey, they've really struggled. In here today, Chicagoland, Jericho not starting all that well, other big names not starting all that well, like DeLello's back at the back, Keegan Thompson failed inspection. There's a lot of unknowns heading into Chicagoland, both because of the racetrack and because of just how this season has gone in general.
Yeah, I think dealing with the point standing in that situation, I think that just goes to show you that you can be really strong at the beginning, but if you're not consistently good throughout the season, even if that is just averaging top 15 to top 10s, stuff like that can really go to hurt you there, and it just shows you the ebbs and flows of this season. But as for everything else, this is going to be a I might even say this might be a wild card type of racetrack.
It could be, and I mean, look at the wild cards that you have starting towards the front of the field. Max Davis for the Wood Brothers, his career best finish last week at Daytona, 3rd place. He starts in 4th here today. You have Tegan Fox in that number 59 car for BAM Racing, a team that has not had really any success the last few seasons. Fox has put that car 7th place to start on a track where, downforce, grip, stuff like that really means a lot. So that team brought a pretty good race car. We'll see if it's good enough in the race. And you have Laura Chung in the number 19 starting in 8th place. While not necessarily an underdog team, her teammate Jacob Miller just won last race out at Daytona. Laura Chung this season has had some dismal luck, some just catastrophic things happen to her, and just stuff that's out of her control really hinder her performance. She's yet to score a top 10 finish this season. She's down near the top 35 in points, cut off to maybe fall below that. She's looking for a good run today. She starts in 8th place. Maybe she can try and move her way to the front. Hunter Reed has had success on the sister track, Kansas, last season. We'll see if Reed can get his second victory of the season, starting just outside the top 10. Then you look back, Ahmed Wald is inside the top 20. The list kind of goes on and on down the line. We'll have to see, though, how it all plays out here today at Chicagoland, as we'll now go take a look at the track facts for the Chicagoland Speedway. It's a beautiful day for racing here in Joliet, Illinois. This is a 1.5 mile racetrack that's 2.41 kilometers, 54 laps in length, 81 miles. The fuel window, 28 to 33 laps. We'll have to see how it all plays out because from what the drivers have been saying, there's not all that much fall off during the race or during a fuel run until you get to those last 5 or so laps. Then the tires basically hit a cliff and they drop down tenths every single lap. There's 18 degrees of banking in the corners, 11 degrees on the front stretch, and 5 degrees on the back stretch. And now we look at the 8 drivers that did not qualify for the race here today. Henry Guo in the 0, Skylar Taylor the 09, John Barrymore in the 14, Nathan Baird the 22, David Dixon the 39, Nathan Orman the 41, Colin Teague 49, and 70, Angel Gutierrez. So we know the 42 drivers ready to do battle here for the Tropicana 400. Let's go down trackside, fire the cars up for the 4th ever NASCAR Nextel Cup Series Chicagoland race.
Drivers, start your engines.
Car 9, Craig, when you're ready. Fired up when you're ready. Fired up, fire and hold. Got me, Joe. You got me.
The field fires up. They're rolling off pit road for the 19th race of the season. The audience picked to win. What a good one. Mathis Wells in car number 20 starting in 3rd place. His average finish here at Chicagoland is 4.3. He has 3 top 10s in 3 starts here. Mathis Wells is the audience pick to win with 61% of the vote. But Trey, who's your pick to win here today?
I'm going to go with the guy right behind him there in that 88, Luke Rainey. You know, I think he's in a good starting spot right here. You know, sitting, 5th right there and on the inside line. And I think he's going to go right up front here real quick and lead this thing all the way out.
3rd place finish for Luke here in 2001, but hasn't finished top 20 at this track since then. We'll see if he can change it. Just a few rows back is my pick to win, and it's going to be this number 8 car, Eli Bright. I think he's going to get his first victory of the season. He lost his top 10 streak, but his average finish in the last 5 races is 6th. He's now 8th in points. He was 23rd in points just a few races ago. Eli Bright's on a hot streak. I think he continues it with a win at the hot Chicagoland Speedway. The pace car is in. RCR, Sebastian Kukulon trying to continue their hot streak of races. Who's outside the very quiet but consistent Lathan Strickland. They come down, they take the green flag, and this time, though Pulsar gets on the gas without a mechanical issue, we're underway at Chicagoland. Well, Trey Kukulon may have gotten put to the outside, but already better than what happened to last season's pole sitter in this race where Ruiz basically blew up before they took the green flag. Wells slides wide. Here comes 2nd in points Luke Rainey trying to take the spot away. You can see the car sliding on the outside lanes to get up out of the groove, and Luke Rainey 2nd in the points leads the first lap of the Tropicana 400. The field scrambles behind in a turn one. You can already see how spread out they're getting because of how just treacherous this racetrack is. That was a close call right there.
Yeah, I don't know if 40 got into the back of Eli, or Eli didn't step right to get into the corner, but it looked like Eli just kind of went straight.
And Mathis Wells back for the lead on Luke Rainey, so Luke took it away in lap 1. Wells will take it this lap. You can see Luke got way up out of the groove there, surrenders some spots to now Rando. Here comes Matthew Burnett. Here comes Conrad Evans. Here comes Richardson. Here comes Kukulon. Everyone fighting for the bottom of the racetrack as Wells leads Rando into turn number 1. Richardson sends it in on Evans, and maybe some contact there up the racetrack, goes to 31. Luke's still struggling. He goes up the racetrack. Davis fighting to the inside on the 21. Here comes DeLello. Here comes Lynn. Battle is on. How about Joe Staubs? That's for 11th on Eli Bright. Here comes Stapleton. Here comes Chung. And a whole host of cars coming behind the front 10.
Yeah, this is very weird looking. It looks like these cars are not to the driver's likeness whatsoever. It looks like they're very unstable, essentially, is what I'm looking for.
Yeah, they're edgy out here. They just can't get into the corner right. And you can see the drivers who are kind of comfortable, or at least the most comfortable with their cars, they're saying, I can push this thing hard. They're the ones moving to the front, like Jay Rando. 2-time winner this season, but Trey, those 2 wins, they came in the first 2 races of the season. He hasn't won since. We'll see if he can try and change that. Wells was really slow through 3 and 4. Burnett came up on him and basically had to stop to avoid running into that number 20. That allows Keyshawn Richardson with the run. Richardson down to the bottom. Winner at Nazareth a few races ago, but since then, Trey, it has been anything but good. His average finish is worse than 29th in the races since that victory, but now he's up to 3rd place. In fact, there's 3 Roush cars moving their way up to the front of the field.
Yeah, so it seems like Roush is the one who has it dialed in so far in the short run at least, but the medium, the long run will be the question here as we're finally starting to see this field get single filed out here, and these drivers are going to get into their rhythm, and we're going to really see who has the best cars here. But still a little bit of a jockeying going on.
How about some of these guys moving to the front? Riley Sprotube, Tim Gary, Sarah Kirschner, Jordan Stout all started poorly. They all were, I think, outside the top 30 to start. Kirschner, in fact, failed inspection after qualifying. She started way back in last place, but here they are. They're just outside of the top 10, now inside the top 10. So the points there, Tim Gary started 37th. Trey, people were maybe a little bit nervous about that. He was anything but nervous. He's moved his way up inside the top 10 in just 6 laps of racing. See, there's actually some tire marks. I think there was some sort of incident. It might have been Chris Jericho, and it was the 18, but no caution came out.
Yeah, he sounds very, very underpowered right now, so he must have did some major damage to that car, but still enough to keep it out on track. We'll have to see what can go on there. It looked like there was almost a mishap between teammates right there, Joe. I don't know if you noticed that between the 15 and the 8.
Yeah, the 15 was kind of blocking the 8 down the back straightaway. Thompson missed the corner. He slid up wide and almost out of the groove. See this pack back here, they're still very aggressive. Luke Rainey is now the leader of this race over Zach DeLillo. Took it from Jay Brando. There's a battle between Drew Webb and Sarah Kirschner. Both started towards the back of the field. Same with the 28 and the 6. Up here, this is some crazy racing. Brando is dropping like a rock, falling back. He was 3 wide. He drops back now to 9th place and maybe even 10th, because here comes Tim Gary to the bottom in turns 3 and 4. So Brando went from leading a few laps ago to now 10th place in the span of about maybe a lap and a half to 2 laps. At the front, Luke Rainey, second in points, still leads this race over DeLello, Richardson, Evans, and Burnett. DeLello looking lower on Rainey through turns 1 and 2. Maybe gets a nose to the inside off corner exit. They'll be side by side for the lead up the back straightaway. 3 Fords going at it at the front of the field.
So, 2 Roush versus, oh my goodness, did you see how sideways they were?
Yeah, they just send it into the corners. Maybe the issue isn't the cars or the tires or the track. Maybe it's just themselves driving it in too hard.
Yeah, it's they're gonna. I'll be kind of curious to see what the tires will be looking like after they come down to pit road, because if they're sliding this much, Joe, those tires got to be falling off big time, right? But right now we got 2 teammates side by side battling for the lead. You're gonna see right here. There it is again, Joe. You mentioned it in the pre-race, how they just cannot get into the corner on the top side there. That was, they're still... All right, we're good.
And Mathis Wells took a 2-for-1 deal right there. Said thank you very much. Up to 2nd place he goes. DeLello trying to get down in 4th place, but can't, because here comes the front 2 in the points. Luke Rainey, Tim Gary. They started at very basically polar opposite ends of the racetrack, but here they are together. And Tim Gary, it took him 10 laps to go from 37th to now pass Luke Rainey inside the top 5.
That was... He is absolutely flying right now. As you can see, the 16 again, really wide right there. He's going to have to slow it down, but don't hit the wall. Look at the momentum loss. I mean, this 84 is cruising up on the 33 as well. They're going to push right past him.
Drew Webb, slowest car in qualifying. The only reason he didn't start last was because other cars failed inspection. DeLello can't get down to the bottom of the racetrack, but Webb in the race is moving his way through the field up inside the top 10. Justin Seidel started poorly. He's moving his way up inside the top 10 and trying to get some more on the number 6 of Jordan Stout. Webb down to the bottom, gets the spot. Seidel almost slides into Kukulon, but gets the spot. Here comes Webb for more on Jay Rando, sideways off the corner. They all keep it under control. Mathis Wells now leads this race, and he's catching his teammate Chris Jericho. Is about to fall a lap down because of that pace difference, because of that damage he has from whatever crash happened to him.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see how these guys deal with lap traffic here, especially one that is damaged and noticeably slow. Now his teammate almost got into it there. I don't think that was part of the plan, and I don't know what it almost looked like Jericho was trying to crowd him.
I don't know. I think it's just... Oh, look out! Look out! He came down to Burnett!
No, there they go!
And he wrecks Richardson in the process, and more are on the way!
Oh, no! This is a lot of cars.
And honestly, Trey, that just wasn't needed by Jericho.
No, I don't... That was, again, like I said, Joe, it looked like he was trying to crowd his teammate who was leading, and then tried to crowd, I don't even know, the 4th place?
Yep, Matthew Burnett, and the points leader gets back around to lead on lap number 15. Tim Gary is now the race leader of the Tropicana 400. Oh, they have to be careful here, because their car's still trying to get going, and they're just trying to, you know, they're not obviously just going to slam on the brakes. They're just rolling out the gas. But now these guys have to get going and get back around so as not to fall a lap down or get caught or, you know, have some sort of issue happen to them, like Oskin and Joe Staubs and some of these others back here. They really got to get going. Jerry Chen as well. I think these guys are going to be coming down the pit lane, actually.
Yes, so we'll have to see how everything gets settled out here. That was all right. We should be good now.
Yep. So here comes the 10, the 20, all these guys. These guys that were damaged kind of caught up. They're trying to get back around and keep their cars clean. There's the 18 out there in the middle of the pack, and here come the Lears though onto pit road. They can't make it from here. They're just short. There's 40 laps to go, so they're probably about 8 or so laps short on fuel, but come down, get the tires, and who knows, if it stays green to the end, you just take a splash of gas in the final 10 laps and get going.
Yeah, we saw Stout take it straight back to the garage there, so he is unfortunately out of this race. A couple more damaged guys on pit road there with Tim Gary bringing it off pit road there. I don't think he'll have any contact. Well, actually.
Oh. Now, did the two come down earlier, or is he going to be tailing the lead lap? Because I know he was kind of caught up in that crash. So I'm wondering if he came down because of the damage, and now he's just going to be tail end of the lead lap.
I thought it was going to be some sort of elite pit call there, and he came right back out in front. I was going to be a little impressed there, but no, it should still be Tim Gary out front there, followed by Mathis Wells.
And it looks like that's going to be just what it is. So we'll wait for scoring to cycle through, but I believe it's going to be Tim Gary, Mathis Wells, then Luke Rennie, then Evans, Riley Spurley-Tube, and some of these others coming off pit road, as there were a lot of Roush cars in that. You know, you mentioned Jordan Stout taking it to the garage. I believe Jay Randall's going to be done as well, so, you know, just Roush Racing, not so good of a crash. I think Zidell might be coming back down pit road. It looks like, obviously, Jericho coming in because he's a lap down. Zidell might have more work to do. No, he was faking them out.
It didn't work.
Yeah, it didn't work. But caution flag is out for the first time with about 40 laps to go. Check out what happened. Chris Jericho, the 18, involved now in 2 incidents to start out here at the Chicagoland Speedway. Well, you saw what happened earlier to Chris Jericho. He had contact with Fitzwater, sent him around. He's obviously disappointed, probably angry. His season as of late has not gone right, but here try to do this to the race leaders. You know, this is 4th place Matthew Burnett. He crowns him down. You know, basically just turned himself off the nose of the 25 car. There's nothing else you could say about that.
I mean, it's clear as day. He came down the track. You watched the 25. He held his line, and the 18 just kept coming down and down and down, and then oh my goodness, look at the air he caught there after going head on into the wall. The 99 gets clobbered by his own teammate. 33 slides in there. The 84 has nowhere to go, followed by the 6 of Stout. That's 3. Watch this. Wait. Watch the 16. And boop. That's all 4.
Yeah, 4 of the 5.
4 of the 5.
And the 17 is right behind it. I mean, look at that. Tyler Belladonna had to miss. See the 99. He got hit a little bit by Evan Hunter, who enters 4th in the point standings. So, I mean, there are a lot of drivers who did a really good job moving through the field involved in that crash, and just drivers that needed good runs. They're not going to have good runs now, and it's kind of all because, you know, Jericho kind of took them out right there. Because he's Idell going through the grass. We saw him. He's possibly falling now tail end of the lead lap. So we'll go take a look one more time at the crash in full speed. All right, Trey, one more view, and, you know, is this maybe just caused by Jericho's last 5 races? I mean, that number 18, his last 5 races, average finish of 29.8.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, but Joe, even with that, yeah, that's just the etiquette, and he knows better, right?
Yeah.
You don't crowd down a lead lap car, especially a car within the side of the top 5 as a lapper, just because you're frustrated and you take out. I don't even know how many. Like, this is a 10 to 15 car pileup right here, Joe. I mean, he knows better than that, and he's gonna have a lot of upset people with him after this race, and it's just not a good look.
We're probably gonna have 5 or 6 cars out of the race because of this crash as well. So I mean, very destructive moment here at the Chicagoland Speedway, and I'm sure Jericho's gonna have a lot to answer to from other drivers and teams after this one is all said and done. After the whole, you know, field kind of got caught up and cycled out, this man, Tim Gary, continues to hold the lead in the Tropicana Ford at Chicagoland, looking to win his first race since 2001 at Texas World. Back here at the Chicagoland Speedway, pacing under the caution flag, and we should be getting 1 to go this time by to come back and take the green flag. See the lights go on the pace car, and you notice the 2 car who had been at the front of the field and, you know, it was tail end of the lead lap after his damage. I think the damage tray was just a little bit too much because that car coming through 3 and 4 just grenaded. I mean, the smoke started billowing out of that car, and I just have to think that damage was just too much for that car to continue on.
Yeah, that is unfortunate to see, but clearly there was something going on mechanically with that car that finally let go, and As simple as that, and his day will be done.
Well, this was a big crash, and there are a lot of cars, getting repairs or just out of the race in general. I mean, this list, it goes on. Drew Webb is out. Jay Rando, his bad string of races will continue. We mentioned him at the start of the show. After race 10, he had a 67-point lead. Since then, he's jumped to 10th in points and 253 points back. That's over 300-point swing. It's going to get even worse here today. You have Keyshawn Richardson. He'll continue his bad stretch of races. His average finish the last three, 29.3. He's out. Kirchner is out. She's been on a stretch of bad races. Tuck is out, trying to break inside the top 35 in owners' points. Jordan Stout is out. Tegan Fox, who had such a good starting position, is out. Roberto Crown Jr. is out. Jericho looks like he's still out there, trying to get that car repaired and get spots. Justin Zidell should be out. We're going to have 32 cars on the lead lap. It's Tim Gary, Mathis Wells, Luke Rainey, Conrad Evans, Riley Sprint, who just missed that crash, inside the top 5. Back green here at Chicagoland. Nice jump for Wells. Looks to the outside. Now might he do the switchback down to the inside into turn 1. He's not close enough, but he does get lower than the 10 through turns 1 and 2, and down to the inside on corner exit.
He's there. Is he going to be able to make the move going into 3 and 4 and finish it off here, or is he going to struggle? Tim's going to go up top, and that's not the place you want to be. But where did he come from?
How about Conrad Evans in the 31? RCR on a tear as of late, but he's not yet won this season. It's been a while since he's finished inside the top 10. But here he is now leading the Tropicana 400 over Wells, over Spurlington. Oh, they get closer to 1.
These guys are still pushing that boundary of what you can and can't do here, Joe. And so far, lead lap wise, there's been no incidences because of it, except for one. But that was it was caution. Oh, we're still trying to wreck.
Yeah, they're still hitting for second. 3 wide. Further back, Justin Atkins on a stretch of 3 straight top 5 finishes. Could he continue that for a 4th? He won this race last season. Now in the number 3 car, he's up to 5th on this restart. What a flyer, and his teammate leads the race. RCR with 3 cars up inside the top 10 as we near the midway point of the Tropicana 400, and now teammates side by side for second place. Luke Rainey and Riley Bridge go at it from Robert Yates Racing.
Oh my goodness, it's just incredible to me how they throw that car into there. I keep thinking they're going to slide up the track, but yet, Joe, they never end up doing that. So these cars are they look out of control, but they're still able to drive them around. But yeah, right now I think we need to get to a point to where we just need to settle in here and block some laps for a little bit.
Oh, Luke Rennie trying to log laps out in the lead as the 88 goes to the inside. He has to lead as many laps as possible because he and Tim Gary, they're still separated by 76 points, but with Gary moving up so quickly, if nothing happens to that number 10 car here today, it's going to be a good points day for him, and Luke needs to get every point he can to try and close in as much, so maybe leading the most laps for Luke could get him 5 bonus points right there, and see Tim stuck on the outside, dropping back as he's stuck behind Conrad Evans. Here comes Mathis Wells to fill the bottom lane in that number 20 car. Riley Sprinter moving back by Sebastian Kukulon as Gary fades back on the top side down the back straight. You can see some other cars trying to move their way up through the field. How about Benny Lynn? This number 40 car, very good at Texas earlier this season. Another mile-and-a-half racetrack. Nearly won that race, and here he is in that number 40 for Chip Ganassi Racing. He's up inside the top 10 and gaining spots. He just passed points leader Tim Gary. He's trying to get by Conrad Evans for the 7th position and more in front of him, right? 2 more RCR cars are side by side, and looks like he's going to move by Kukulon as well in that number 29 car.
Yeah, it seems like he's, again, Joe, this is a wild card track.
Yeah. Chris Jericho, car number 18, is slow again, and it's going to be about the same spot. They come off forward, he goes high, 88 goes low, so now everyone's going to say, all right, let's go to the bottom around this number 18. Jericho's, he almost got the 25 again. Oh, he got the 40! Oh, look out! Kukulon gets involved. Those two up against the wall.
He did it again.
Ryan Wilson's out of control. Oh, no!
Oh, my goodness.
Big hit in the background. Caution flag is out. Racing back around. Mathis Wells in the 20 leads the race.
Jericho, what are we doing, buddy? I mean,
I think he should be done after that one with that hit he just took right there. And I think it was Hunter Reed that hit him.
I mean, that 40, the 40 car, they were absolutely flying too. They were lining up for a great finish.
And Sebastian Kukulon started from pole. I mean, his win at Michigan, it doesn't tell the tale of what he's been going through lately. In terms of, he hasn't finished better than 20th besides that win at Michigan. And He's involved in damage. Ryan Wilson had been moving up nicely. He got damage from that. I don't know if it's necessarily major, but now, Trey, they couldn't make it on fuel, but now they can, right? They're going to be pitting just before midway. So this is the perfect opportunity to come down, get your fuel, get your tires. But the question is, Trey, now, you only need a splash of fuel. Do you take 4 tires, 2 tires, or no tires?
I don't know. The question is if tires really matter that much. I don't know what the fall off is on a long run.
Watch the
So,
3 and the 10 back there. The 10 leaves with 2. The 3 is taking 4. So we're going to have mixed strategy.
Strategy.
So what does Wells do? He was the leader coming in there. You can see Tim. He emerges out. Belladonna's on 2. There's Atkins on 4 leaving. The 20 car, 2 tires so far. The 88 taking 2. The 20 taking 2. Can he beat the 10 off pit road? It's going to be oh so close.
I think he's going to get it. Wow.
All right. So Trey,
so who's the first car with 4 tires? Is it the 3?
It's going to be this number 3 car, Justin Atkins. So we'll use him as a benchmark, right? If he starts moving through the field, 4 tires is the way to go. If he has some issues here, then it's kind of equal at that point.
Yeah. So it'll be. I'll be interested to see if 4 tires is the right call there, or the aggressive 2 tire call is the way you want to go.
Well, Mathis Wells is the leader of this race. It's been over a year since he's won 32 races. We'll see if he can get it done here today. We'll go check out what happened, though. Caution flag is out. Chris Jericho once again, the instigator in a crash as a lap car on the front stretch. Well, Trey, here we are again with Chris Jericho. Front 4 get by him on the inside. Burnett's committed to the outside, so he goes up there. Jericho gives him room, but then Benny Lynn's coming outside. Instead of staying middle, Jericho just kind of crowds up, doesn't give Lynn enough room. 40 runs into him, and, I mean, unfortunately, Trey, this is not the worst part of the crash. Benny Lynn involved, and that's terrible for him because he was having such a good run. Kukulon involved in the 29, then here comes Wilson. He gets out of control here. He hits the 29. He's kind of sideways. He saves his car. But here comes, ironically, the man who spun Jericho all the way back for the first accident, car number 32, Fitzwater.
Oh my goodness.
And look at Hunter Reed.
Oh my goodness. Into the catch fence. Luckily, the car doesn't go over and sits back down, but Joe, those were fallacious. I mean, that's 2 wrecks in a row where Jericho caught air, but at the same time, it's 2 wrecks in a row where Jericho was the root cause of the wreck.
Yep, and that number 18 is going to be done. The 45's done. The 32's done, and yeah, we're going to have more cars to the garage after that one. We'll go take a look one more time at full speed. And here's the crash one more time. Chris Jericho stuck in the middle of his lap car, and here comes poor old Benny Lynn, having a good run for Chip Ganassi Racing, but looks like that's going to be over now.
I mean, I don't even know how you... I don't think you can defend that, right? There's... What do you say?
Not when it's the second time, Trey. First time, you can maybe give it a pass. The second time, you go, yeah, no, that's inexcusable.
Well, I guess I'll be interested to see what NASCAR says or anything after this race.
That will be interesting for sure. But it's this man, Mathis Wells, Jericho's teammate, that now leads here at Chicagoland, trying to get Joe Gibbs Racing something good out of today, but it's going to be mixed strategy. Some are on 2 at the front, but Justin Atkins, the first car on 4. We'll have to see how he can perform on this restart, which will come in the second half of the Tropicana 400. .25 laps to go with the green flag here at Chicagoland. Mathis Wells continues to lead in the Tropicana 400 with the points leader Tim Gary right behind in second. I mean, we have the top 3 in points running first, second, and fourth here so far at Chicagoland. More cars are done, including Chris Jericho, the 18, Hunter Reed, and Zachary Fitzwater Sr. Where you mentioned the 2 car, it looks like he blew up in a lot of smoke. They fixed whatever it was in that number 2 car, so he's back out there. 31st place, he's off the pace, but gained those spots. So Zeidel's team, whatever it was, they could have left something loose or something was, rubbing or something, oil pressure. I don't know what it was, but they fixed number 2. We have 30 cars on the lead lap. The 40 and the 29 at the back are damaged from that last crash. So we have Wells, Gary, Belladonna, Rainey, Spurlington, and Burnett on 2 tires. Atkins is on 4, and then others with 2 sprinkled around him. Green flag back in the air. Nice jump for the front 2. Not so good for Belladonna. Here comes Gary all over Wells and down to the inside through turns 1 and 2. Gary trying to take it back from Wells off turn 2.
So, all right. let's see how these guys go. I mean, we're still gonna have some slow cars, but I don't know if we'll have enough laps to catch these guys. So lap cars might not be a factor here. We still got some big names in this race racing it up with some strong cars. So what are we looking at here to develop throughout the rest of this race?
Well, what we're looking at right now is the guy who won the last time we were on a mile and a half, Tyler Belladonna, won the World 600. He now leads this race, but Tim Gary crosses back under to the inside. Trey, I have to think, if you're wanting to win this race, you might have to go through the front two of the points to do it, because Gary and Rainey have looked very, very strong here today. See the points leader, Gary, he flies to the front of the field. He pulls away by maybe the biggest lead so far here today.
Yeah, definitely, and we'll have to see if he's going to be able to hold that or not. Remember, Joe, he took 2 tires. So did majority of these other guys. The first one to take 4 tires is stuck there back in traffic. Summer, there he is. He's found his way to the bottom here, so maybe with a little bit of open way here, he may be able to find himself up front, or maybe, those 4 tires aren't really going to do much.
Well, there went 2 spots right there that he gained, so he gets by Laura Chung, he gets by Evan. See everyone trying to dive to the bottom.
Oh, my goodness.
Look at those moves. Laura Chung being aggressive. He just got into Atkins.
Oh.
What a save.
I thought we were about to witness something happen again, and I was so nervous, but like you mentioned, Joe, incredible save there by the 3, and he's going to be able to live on.
Well, they're being so aggressive, Trey. They know that this could be the final restart, right? This could be the final time they're all packed together, so everyone's going very aggressively here, but Justin Atkins on those 4 tires, he's continuing a charge. That's now 6th place, getting by Matthew Burnett. How about Mitchell Collins? He was set to start in 12th place here today, failed inspection, went back to start in 41st. He's now up inside the top 10 right when it matters most. And just in front of him, Keegan Thompson up in 4th place. Trey, he was set to start inside the top 5. Failed inspection, he started 40th. He's now back inside the top 5, basically where he would have started.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see teammates right here battling it out again. This is for 2nd place, while at the same time catching Tim Gary. He's going to absolutely send a slider on his teammate Luke Rainey right there and clear himself off of 4. Look at the gap that created. Well,
20 laps to go, and now at the front of the field, the top 2, Tim Gary, Riley Spurley, 2 of our 2 drivers that have not yet won this season. We saw at Daytona, our 15th winner in 18 races. Could we get a 16th in 19 races here today? Right now, 1st and 2nd are looking to do that. Luke Rainey in 3rd, Belladonna now 4th. Atkins on the 4 tires is broken inside the top 5. To 5th place he goes. Mitchell Collins getting by Keegan Thompson. Where has Anthony Hernandez come from? Car number 1 is on a charge on this restart. He's up inside the top 10 in 8th place, looking for 7th on Keegan Thompson into turn 1. He'll stay behind him for now. Then you have Burnett in 9th. Laura Chung in 10th. Chung has not yet won this season either. Here comes Hernandez on Thompson off turn number 2. Side by side up the back straightaway. Battle for 7th is on.
We'll have to see how these guys... There we go. So the one now cleared himself from Keegan Thompson. Keegan got up into that, light grayer stuff again, and he had to back out as we've seen all throughout the race so far, right? So we'll have to see if he can gain back that momentum. But, I mean, look at this, Joe. This is something we haven't seen all race. We're the first... 15 cars are all single file?
And most of the field is now spread out. It's really until you get back to some of the, we have a slower car up the road, Sebastian Kukulan in the 29th. So will he be as much of a nuisance as Chris Jericho? The 10 tries to go high.
Oh.
Riley Spurgeon's going to take the bottom in the number 28 car, and Riley Spurgeon's going to take the lead here at Chicagoland as Tim Gary made a blunder into turns 3 and 4.
Please get past these guys like normal people.
And
all right, good. See, that's how you hold a middle line.
Yep, so Kukulan did that. Now he's kind of down in front of Hernandez, but the 1 should get low on corner exit. He does. Kukulan moves up to give the 1 the bottom. 25 Burnett will have the bottom. Then Thompson can swoop to the bottom, and he'll do that. So Kukulan so far giving everyone the lane that they need. 3 wide for 2nd. Belladonna is up high. He gets shuffled out. It's now Luke Rainey making it a Robert H. Racing 1-2 as the 88 moves by. The number 3 of Atkins. Does that 3 have damage there? Did he get into someone?
I was just looking at that. He didn't have that on the restart, so he clearly just ran into the back of someone or something within the last lap or 2, Joe. And, I mean, clearly that's hurting the car.
You can see the 17 dropping to the inside to get by. Then Mitchell Collins as well. Tim Gary back up to 2nd place. The 28, the 10, right now, they're looking like the fastest cars because they were 1st and 2nd. They dropped because of that 29. The 10 did, but he's immediately gotten right back up to that number 28 car and trying to hunt him down into turns 1 and 2. Speaking of non-winners this season, as here comes Gary for the lead on Riley Spurgeon. Further back inside the top 10. Laura Chung is 8th. Nathan Stapleton is 9th. Anthony Hernandez is 10th. as Gary side by side for the lead in turns 3 and 4. He'll get by Riley Sprutu, but now Gary back to the front. Here comes Belladonna.
Oh my
Close
goodness.
for second place on Riley Sprutu, but they get away with it. Laura Chung and Mitchell Collins almost come together. Chung trying for her first top 10 this season, and that number 19 being aggressive up to 7th place and looking for more. Here comes Burnett trying to get by Riley Sprutu. 28 was leading last lap. Now he's back outside the top 5.
I don't know where you want to be right now, Joe. I don't think there's a safe place.
Well, with more, oh, the
my
3
goodness.
into the 88. I mean, that was aggressive, but yeah, you're not safe because there's more lap traffic up the road for these leaders to deal with. See Benny Lynn on pit road, obviously some more issues on that number 40 car from that last crash, but here come the 10 and the 17. They're catching.
Oh, this is like a small pack.
Priya
That's not
McShane
good.
and Justin Seidel are ahead for these guys to deal with.
And we're going to catch them in the corner, if not corner exit, which is where you do not want to catch these guys. Tim Gary, he's going to try to go middle. It's not going to work. Going to dive into the bottom. It's not going to work either. Almost contact with the doubles here. Priya McShane. Are we good?
Whoa!
Seidel
Dell almost came down into that number 17 and the 10, and now look out, still not done. The 3 car forced it to the inside, so the front 3 get through. Here comes Riley Sprutu trying to get through, but now it's a 3 car race. Gary, Belladonna, Atkins. Then you have Sprutu through to 4th. Luke Rennie trying to get through to 5th. Then Matthew Burnett. Here comes
my goodness.
a big pack of cars. Hernandez and Martinelli, Stapleton, Collins, Chung, Thompson, all on top of each other back here as they're catching lap traffic. Stapleton trying to go around the outside.
There's almost contact.
There just wasn't room for Stapleton to do that.
Yeah, that was a ambitious move right there, and luckily he decided to back out of it last second and not cause any damage.
Everyone filtering around Seidel in a more calm manner. At the front, Gary leads, but Belladonna is trying to carry Roush's torch here today. They had 3 cars involved in that first crash and out of the race. Zachary DeLello since then has dropped down to 22nd. You have Tyler Belladonna, the lone bullet for Ross Big Train and Roush Racing, but he's going for the lead up the back straightaway on the points leader Tim Gary, trying to become just the 4th driver this season to win multiple races. Belladonna now leads with under 10 laps to go in Chicagoland.
So I think it's safe to say that 4 tires was a smart option there because of speed, but the question is that in the time it took this 3 to get up to the front of the pack, did it allow the 4 tires to kind of even out with the 2 tire option?
It could have, but here comes Atkins. He's still gunning hard on Tim Gary. Remember, Atkins has 3 straight top 5 finishes. If he can continue that 4th straight top 5 finish, he's moved up greatly in points. I mean, he was nowhere for most of this season. But now, after the last 3 races, he's up to 6th in points. He'll easily get up inside the top 5 in points as things stand. As Atkins moves to 2nd, trying to chase down Belladonna. 8 laps of racing to go. Tim Gary, the points leader, right now in 3rd, trying to cling on, trying to get that first win since 2001 and more lap traffic up the road. Then you have Riley Sprutu and Luke Rainey, the 2 teammates, and then Matthew Burnett. Right now, it's a 6-car race coming back around to 7 laps to go, but anything can still happen towards the end of this race, especially with lap traffic. Kukulon up the road, and so is Baby Ruiz in that number 7.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see here. Maybe a little bit of team play from RCR. It looks like the 29's going to crowd a little bit, but at the same time, the 10 got to the inside of the 3, so it's not going to do anything. Actually, he's going to hold up his teammate.
He's going to hold up everyone. Belladonna really got away. Look at Luke Rainey. Wow, what a move.
Well, hurt a teammate, but help a competitor. Is that how that's how that worked out?
Yeah, that wasn't how it's supposed to work out, I don't think, but that's how it happened, and Atkins might not be too happy about that. He's lost his top 5 position for now. Luke Rennie getting by Tim Gary, trying to get whatever points he can, but there's just 6 laps to go in this race. Belladonna with about a 2nd gap. Riley Sprutu trying to get it back. Here he comes to the bottom as Belladonna catches Ruiz, but at a great point on the backstretch. So he's just going to move to the inside and get by. No contest for that number 7 or the 17. Just kind of moves by, and Belladonna now has clear racetrack in front with 5 laps of racing to go. Can Riley Sprutu hunt him down?
So this is some interesting stuff going down here. The 28 has taken the lead, still trying to get by some lap traffic, but Look behind him, Joe. You got 4 cars that are all hungry for a win right now, and a little bit more within this pack.
And someone I want to give a call to, Mathis Wells restarted this race last restart in first place, but he dropped back outside the top 15. But now late in the race, he's charging back up. He's up to now 7th place, trying to make it 4 top 10s in 4 starts here at Chicagoland. But with 4 laps to go, the leaders have to catch about a second to Tyler Belladonna. And as they maybe battle for second place, it's only going to help Belladonna keep that lead and possibly pull away and win this race for his second win of the season.
This is going to be an interesting outcome here, whatever this race is. I mean, Joe, there's so many things going on in this race.
Well, they have teammates second and third place, but with 3 laps to go, do they have time to run that 17 down? They actually lost ground the last lap, so Riley Spurgeon can't get to him. Will Luke Rainey move him aside, trying to have a shot for himself? He gets to the inside on corner exit. They'll be side by side up the back straightaway. Luke Rainey, Riley Spurgeon, then you have Atkins and Burnett behind them as well. Luke sends it in deep on the bottom of the racetrack. He grabs the spot for Spurgeon, but time is running out. Just 2 laps to go. Luke is in second. Could there be a final Hail Mary move? Because there's 1 more lap car up the road. 2 laps left for Tyler Belladonna in the 17 car.
All the 17 has to do at this point, Joe, is just hit his marks and he'll be perfectly fine. I mean, even with the lap car, as long as, he makes a smart decision here and the lap car does, the courteous thing and gets out of the way, I don't think the 17 is going to run into any problem.
Well, remember, Belladonna won by a pretty wide margin at Lowe's last time out. And here he comes to the white flag. 1 last lap for Tyler Belladonna, looking to go back-to-back on the mile-and-a-half racetracks here in 2004. The last time we were on a mile and a half, it was at the Lowe's Motor Speedway in the World 600. Belladonna won that one. And now off turn 2 for the final time out the back straightaway. He has a massive gap to his nearest competitor, Luke Rainey, in the 88. Into turns 3 and 4 for the final time. Belladonna down well, and he'll make it work. Second win of his career, second win of the season. Tyler Belladonna claims Chicagoland here in the Nextel Cup Series. Luke Rainey, second in points, will end up second on the racetrack and will gain slight points over points there. Tim Gary, who ends up in 4th. But today it's all about Tyler Belladonna in that number 17 car. He got that top 5 finish at Daytona. He had bad finishes after his win at the World 600. But Trey, he's back on top for the second time in his career. And Belladonna into pit road with the field following him. And this is why Ross McTrain, team owner of Roush Racing, signed Tyler Belladonna. And it was really as a response to that amazing performance that Belladonna had at Dover last season, where he nearly won in that Jasper Motorsports car, was leading basically all the way up until the end. Kind of got passed there at the end by Jay Rando and Chris Jericho, but Belladonna, we knew that he had the talent to go out there and win races, and he's shown it this season. When given the right car, under the right circumstances, he can win races. And he's done it on tracks that, a lot is based on the car at these mile-and-a-half racetracks, but a lot is based on the driver, especially the ones he won at. Lowe's, very tire management heavy race, very bumpy racetrack. Here at Chicagoland, drivers have complained about how slick it is and how, kind of disastrous it is out there. Well, here today, Belladonna, he mastered it, and he wins at Chicagoland. So the 17 goes to victory lane here today. Luke Rainey, 0.8 of a second back at the checker flag, will end up in second. Justin Atkins, that's now 4 straight top 5 finishes this season. He's been on a hot streak. Can he continue it? Can he possibly be the one to try and close in on those front 2 in the points? Tim Gary, the points leader, will settle for a 4th place finish. That's now Gary's 3rd straight top 5 finish. That's the first time that's ever happened in his career. Riley Spurgeon so close to that first victory of the season. Had a strong car today, but he'll settle for top 5. Matthew Burnett ends up in 6th. Conrad Evans, his best finish in a while in that number 31, 7th for him. Max Davis, back-to-back top 10s with an 8th here today. Nathan Stapleton, a very solid day in 9th, and Mitchell Collins from the back of the field gets 10th here today. Hernandez in 11th, Keegan Thompson 12th. Mathis Wells, his worst run here at the Chicagoland Speedway in 13th. Laura Chung, Jude Martinelli with the top 15. Jerry Chen, never talked about him, but he ends up in 16th today. Then you have a lot of kind of underdogs and good stories here inside the top 20. Oskin 17th, Lurb 18th, Staubs 19th, and obviously Zach DeLello in 20th, just at number 16. A lot of stuff going on out there here today, kind of got involved in. Ryan Wilson down here in that number 15, and you look at the number 9 there of Jacob Miller winning at Daytona. Couldn't back it up with a good run here. Eli Bright really struggled that number 8 car, and some guys up there in points. Lathan Strickland, Evan Hunter finished last cars on the lead lap. Strickland 25th, Hunter 26th, and then a lot of cars 1 or 2 laps down, and we only had 31 cars finish this race, 32nd on down to 42nd out of the race, and big names down there like Jericho, who was involved in basically everything out there here today, Jordan Stout, Sarah Kirchner, Keyshawn Richardson, Jay Rando, all out of this race here today. And I mean, it's going to shake the points up again. We look at the points once again, kind of the front runners. Tim Gary, Luke Rainey, top 5s. Matthew Wells, top 15. Evan Hunter struggled. Lathan Strickland struggled. Justin Atkins, top 5. Keegan Thompson, a decent day. Eli Bright struggled. Kirchner, out. Rando, out. Trey, once again, these points are going to change, but what doesn't change is that the front few, they continue to pull away.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, right, it's really showing that only a handful of these guys really have, at the moment at least, championship contending cars, right? Like, it's something we're not really used to seeing here, because the past couple of seasons, it's been almost half the field have always been right on top of each other, but this time around it's only a couple of guys, and we'll have to see if they can keep that consistency up, or if at some point they'll end up falling off, and we'll have new people coming to the race.
Yeah, I think the issue has just been more consistency rather than speed. I think there's a lot of teams and drivers that have the speed to go out there and win races, contend for the championship. The issue is not many drivers have shown the consistency as Tim Gary, Luke Rainey, Mathis Wells, guys that have been able to finish top 10, top 15, top 5, week in and week out. I mean, we look at Luke, we look at Tim, they're finishing inside the top 5 these last few races, inside the top 10, and they're just kind of back and forth on each other, and meanwhile, they keep finishing well. They're really pulling away from the rest of the field behind, where it had really closed up the last few races. Now the last few races, it's really kind of drawn back out, and we just have a few cars for that championship lead. But things can really change. We're still, a lot of time left, and the summer months have been crazy in the past. We'll have to see how next race goes on JRTV, as next Sunday we'll be racing at the New Hampshire International Speedway for the Sylvania 300 trade. That's going to be a big track position race, so if someone doesn't have the track position to start, it could really affect the whole rest of their race.
Yeah, so come qualifying, these guys are going to be, really pushing it with everything they got, but at the same time, that could come to bite you back, right? So we'll have to see everything folds out next time we're at the racetrack, and it'll be fun to watch.
It will be a fun one for sure. Today was a fun one, and it was fun for Tyler Belladonna as Roush Racing, that number 17 team, they claim a second victory on the season. Belladonna, now at Lowe's, now at Chicagoland, he's been a winner in the Nextel Cup Series. Congratulations to he and that number 17 team. For Trey Bardo and Joe Rukowski, so long from the Chicagoland Speedway, but tune in next week to JRTV for the New Hampshire race, the Sylvania 300.